Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. This is a little midweek release. It's a little bit short, it's only about 10 minutes or so long. It was too long to add on to the last video where we removed the throttle body and the ECU, and it sort of just finishes everything off nicely before we get on to the next one. On the subject of the next video, from now on I'm going to be releasing the videos, posting them up on a Friday evening around about 6 PM. Rather than the Sunday at 12 o'clock. So it's a little change to schedule. So if you're looking out for the videos, then just remember that change. I'll remind you again at the end. So let's get on with today's video. First thing we need to do is depressurise the fuel system before we disconnect the fuel feed pipes. So at the end of the fuel rail is what looks like a little tyre valve. Just take the little cap off, and inside there is exactly what's inside a tyre valve where you inflate the tyres. Just a little screwdriver, push the end of it in, and you see that spurt of fuel come out, meaning we've now depressurised the fuel rail. Make sure you put a piece of rag there, you don't want to spill any fuel, just avoid the fire risk. Stick a little dust cover back on, just to avoid any dirt and stuff getting back in there. And now we can safely remove the fuel pipe itself from the fuel rail. Now I've got a special little tool here for doing this. You need to press the two sides of the blue plastic piece that you can see inside the connector together. This does them both at the same time. You can do it with some long nose pliers. But I bought this tool a few years ago. I think it was about £6 or £7, so not ridiculously expensive, and it just makes life a lot easier. So once you've nipped those two pieces together, you should just be able to pull the fuel connector and the pipe off of the end of the metal pipe on the fuel rail. Again, just get a little piece of rag handy to catch any fuel. It's not a great deal comes out of there, but it's just best to soak it up rather than let it drip all over the engine. So the fuel rail disconnected, or the fuel pipe rather, disconnected from the fuel rail. There's another fairly large vacuum hose that clips onto a valve on the side of the manifold itself. Very, very difficult to show you in the video. Couldn't really get any good shots of that. But basically it's just a connector that you squeeze the two sides together with your fingers, and you can just pull that off the bottom of the valve. Like I said, I've tried my hardest to get a decent bit of video footage for this, but as you can see, failed miserably. You can see the valve on the side of the manifold there with those brackets and stuff on. That's the pipe that runs down there underneath. It's buried quite deep down. You can see it quite easy when you're looking from the top, but as I say, difficult to film and get to with a camera. So that disconnected, there's just 6 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 up this end, 5 and 6 that hold the top of the manifold on. There are about another 6 or 7, maybe even 8 underneath. I just couldn't get to video those, I'm afraid, so I didn't show those being undone. But once they're disconnected or unbolted, you can just pull the manifold free. I did find at this point that there is another pipe, a little tiny vacuum pipe that goes into a rubber hose on the bottom of the manifold. And also it's worth noting that there are 2 dowel pins that locate the manifold in the right position, which is what I'm just pushing it back onto now temporarily. Be careful not to lose these. One of these pulled out of the lower manifold, because it's the upper half of the manifold that we're removing at the moment. It pulled out of the lower half and stayed in the upper half, and the other one stayed in the lower half. So just be careful not to lose those, because they are quite critical. The gasket sits on those and doesn't fall off when you put it all back together. So I'm just removing the extra hose that I found, the little thin vacuum hose. I think it's a vacuum hose. Goes onto the bottom of the manifold. Just reach down there with a pair of long nose pliers, pull that off, and we can lift the manifold free. job done. So that's the hose, the little piece of pipe, as you see, it's quite thin in the middle of the shot there. The little piece of hose that was connected to the bottom of the manifold and just stopping me lifting it clear. You also see the blue connector there for the end of the on the end of the fill rail. So here's the manifold off of the car. You can't see in there at the moment, but it is absolutely full of oil. I think that's a crazy amount of oil inside an inlet manifold. It's no wonder the engine was smoking a little bit. You can see what is there in there. Must be a cupful at least. It's just dribbling out of all the inlet ports now. So whatever we do with this manifold, getting this oil cleaned out of it has got to be a good thing. I think it's probably in there due to the breather system problem that we saw earlier and the block breather system on the cam cover. So that's obviously going to need a good clean up. And while we're under the bonnet, we've got one more job that I'm going to tackle, and that is to remove the broken stud that held the rocker cover on. If you remember, it broke off, the head broke off of it. So what I've done is dosed it in a liberal amounts of WD-40, and luckily there was enough stud left sticking out of the engine cylinder head to get a pair of mole grips or vice grips on. So just a little bit of a rock backwards and forwards rather than trying to wind it straight out, because we knew it wouldn't come out that easy. I've just sort of wound it back in a little bit, which is what I'm doing there, just moving it backwards and forwards, and eventually it freed up enough for us to just wind it straight out. And there it is, one broken manifold stud, broken rocker cover stud. And watch the fail there, don't blow in it because I've got a face full of oil. So that's it for this video, guys. Like I said, quite a short one this time. Just ties in nicely with the last one where we removed the ECU and the throttle body. Just got the manifold off now and out of the way. Don't forget, I'll be uploading on a Friday at 6 PM from now on, rather than the Sunday at 12 midday. So look out for the next video. Just going to leave you with a little clip now and a little bit of music just to show you the roof activation on this Astra, because it still fascinates me. The actual design process and thought process that must have gone into getting that to work is quite amazing, let alone the programming of the control module to get everything to move in the right places. But I'll leave you with that, have a look at it, and catch you in the next one.